This is an explanation of telepathy cards or behaviour signs, and I'll keep it pretty brief. You can always contact me if you want some more information. This is the selection card from which the spectator chooses a sign and a colour. That's 40 in all, 10 signs, 4 colours. This card could have all 40 signs on it. It's an alternative, but this is the one I'm using at the moment. So the spectator makes a choice, and the other props you need are the test card, which has the 40 symbols on it, exactly 40, distributed carefully between the two sides, although you'd explain it as it's a random selection. You're also going to need a blue and a red pen, and a pad of some sort, little pad, little post-it note, something of that sort. These are hidden in your pocket. It isn't obvious that you've got 2 pens at this stage. There are 2 phases to it. The first phase is to discover the shape the spectator thought of, and the second phase is to discover which of the 4 colours she thought of. And the key to it all is that each shape, whichever you choose, the X for example, is uniquely placed, so that there are 2 X's on this side, look, the orange and the green, and there are 2 X's on this side, the red and the blue. That tells you that she's thinking of the X. However, you couldn't possibly remember all that, and so there's a very easy method, which I'll explain, to find out what she's thinking of. And it's based on which side of this card she is looking at. You need a glance at this card as she's looking at it. Like most ESP tricks, the symbols have values. You're used to these 1 to 5 traditional ones. I've added 5 more. Very easy to remember. At is shaped a bit like a 6. Wine glass has got a 7 in the drawing. 8 window panes, 9 spaces in a hash, and the Roman 10. If you don't remember it, you don't have to, because this one is on show all the way through anyway, and if you've forgotten which is which, you can soon remind yourself by a quick glance at that. And the other thing to know, the only other thing to know, is that the colours also have a value. The binary system, I call it, I don't know what it's officially called, Bob Hummer's system, some people call it. Basically, blue has the value 8, orange has the value 4, red has the value 2, green has the value 1. Borg is the mnemonic, internationally known tennis player. Everybody can remember Borg. You always work in that order, 8, 4, 2, 1, and so there's no memory problem involved there. So the spectator chooses her symbol and colour. You tell her to remember it. Say, oh, if you've thought of a tree and it's purple, remember purple tree, because you'll want to make sure she remembers what she's actually thinking of, that it is, let's say, the red triangle, though you don't know it at this stage. You give her this card, and you ask her to find the blue. Concentrate on her symbol alone, the triangle in this case, and find the blue symbol. She's not looking at that. Find the blue symbol. You have a glance to know which side she finds it on, and she finds the blue symbol on this side. We'll call that the red side. She doesn't find it on the green side. You ignore anything on the red side. You completely ignore anything on the red side. You only count those on the green side. Very easy. Green for yes, if you like, red for no. And so you ask her to find the blue sign, her blue sign, which happens to be a triangle. She nods her head. You notice that she's looking at the red side. Forget it, you're not interested. Then you ask her in sequence to look for the orange, and she finds the orange triangle on this side. Forget it, it's not of interest to you. Then you ask her to find the red. She looks and she finds the red triangle. It is of interest to you. It's on the green side. You count 2 points. Then ask her finally for the green triangle. She finds it. It's worth 1 point. So you've got 2 and 1, 3 points. You know straight away that it's a triangle, because using this, you know what 3 means. 3 is the triangle. So at this stage, you don't know the colour. You just know it's a triangle. You've got that far. Now we need to narrow down the colour. At this stage, or at any stage, you might say, having a problem with the colour, can you find the pool of colour corresponding to your colour, the one you chose, and she will find the red, because she happened to choose red, which is on this side. You'll notice that, and so at this stage you know it's orange or red. You know it's not blue or green. You just know it's orange or red and it's a triangle. You're getting there. At this stage you know to pull out the red pen. It's not blue or green. You pull out the red pen, which is hidden in your pocket, and you draw her shape. And of course her shape is a triangle. You don't know blue or red or orange at this stage, but you draw with the only pen you've got, and you draw a triangle. And you say to her, you bluff, you guess the opposite of what you've drawn. So you say, well, I've been getting very strong signals from you, and the shape and the colour. I think the colour is orange, am I right? And she of course says no. So you act concerned and say, oh, so it's not the orange hash, or it's not the orange star, make something up, just one of those. She says no, you've made a complete mess of it. So you say, well, in that case, I can't go through all 40 of them. You cut to the quick, will you tell us what it is? And she says, well, it was the red triangle actually. And you say, well, that's lucky because that's exactly what I've drawn. And obviously you've won. The other way around, when you bluff orange, you say, well, I think it's orange, isn't it? And she says, yes, it is. Well, that stage, is that better or worse? I'm not sure, but it's the other outcome. You say, well, it's a triangle. I've drawn a triangle. It's the orange triangle, isn't it? And you show her what you've drawn. She doesn't know that was the she thinks that's just the only pen you've got, obviously. And likewise, had it been the blue or green triangle you'd discovered, then on here you would instead have drawn a blue or green triangle. Sorry, you would have drawn a blue triangle because you've got a blue pen, and gone through the bluff and said, well, I'm getting green, and she'd have said no, or yes. If she says no, blah blah blah, and then you say, well, yes, actually what I've got is exactly what you've just told me, a blue triangle there. So that's the methodology. Takes a lot of describing, actually in use, very simple. Most people know that system pretty much, and that couldn't really be easier. Just one point, you could make 64 different symbols on the test card if you wanted it. 16 here instead of 10, but then the sums would be more difficult. The most difficult sum you're ever going to have to do here is to get a 10. If she's thinking of a 10, then it'll be 8 plus 2. Conceivably, the most difficult sum would be when she chooses the wine glass. Then you'll get a 4 plus a 2 plus a 1, a 7. But most people can do that sort of sum in their heads. So that's the explanation of telepathy cards.